Today, Seth Wickersham released an article about Caleb Williams possibly trying to find a way around being drafted by the Bears. We're going to look at a couple parts of the article and just kind of discuss here. I think my initial thoughts are when the initial reports of Caleb Williams may not be interested in going to the Chicago Bears, I thought it really had more to do with his dad. And in the article, that definitely seems to be the case, but there are I would say relevant parts in here that show that Caleb Williams did have a genuine concern about going to the Chicago Bears. Now, this is all part of a bigger book by Seth Wickersham that I don't know if it's out yet, but with that being said, let's get right into it. So it says, quarterback Caleb Williams was so concerned about being picked by the Chicago Bears in 2024 that he and his family weighed circumventing the NFL draft. We knew that. Consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement while considering signing with the UFL. That is something that is, at least to me, new information, which is kind of insane. And I really am curious to know what the backlash or response from the Bears or Caleb Williams' team will be. And I do think it is quite an interesting time to release this information, especially after the offseason that they just had. I don't know if this really has any meaning at this point, but it is something that I think Bears fans should consider going forward if things don't necessarily go as planned with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson in Chicago. Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. Caleb Williams' father told Seth Wickersham, author of American King's biography of the quarterback. Obviously, this is used to promote the book. Caleb Williams wondered aloud to confidants, do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it with former Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. So to me, this says two things. Shane Waldron was one, the wrong hire, which I don't think a lot of people at the time thought Waldron was necessarily the wrong hire, but I think it was one of those things where it was like we could do worse, right? And it ended up being a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. But then it also, with Waldron being fired mid-season and Eberflus, which we'll get to later, being fired mid-season, it shows kind of the pool that Caleb Williams has, right? Like, this obviously was not working with Shane and Caleb, so they let him go, and they valued Caleb's opinion. So the forthcoming book to be published in September, okay, so it's not out yet, offers a detailed account of what it means to be a quarterback in various levels, blah, blah, blah. Going back to talking about Carl Williams. So Carl Williams went to great lengths to try and circumvent the NFL draft. Wickersham writes, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. Completely understand that. The Bears had not drafted a star quarterback since the 1980s, and the recent draft selections of Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields didn't pan out. Now, whether you think that is the player that they were, the coaching staff, the support around them, that's all up to you. Regardless, it didn't work out, and that is a stain on the franchise. Carl Williams was worried that with the franchise's history, stadium uncertainty, and offense's performances under then head coach Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams wouldn't have the organizational support to succeed. As a father, especially if my kid is that talented going to the NFL, I would have the same concerns. The reality is Chicago hasn't developed a quarterback, and they haven't done the right things to surround them. Now, whether you want to say that this was a wake-up call for the Bears, a much-needed wake-up call, or this is something that could, down the road, kind of get ugly if things don't work out, that remains to be seen. So, he said, I don't want my son playing for the Bears, Carl Williams told several agents. Looking for a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement, Carl Williams spoke to Archie Manning, who helped Eli assert a measure of control over his eventual team in the 2004 draft. So Eli Manning was drafted by the Chargers even after he said that he didn't want to play there. And he was eventually traded to the Giants. I think it was for Phillip Rivers and a couple draft picks, if I'm right. So He also met with labor lawyers and agents and even considered whether his son could sign with the UFL League and become an unrestricted NFL free agent in 2025 to be able to pick a team. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which could lock his son into the team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of lost market value income. The rookie cap is just unconstitutional. Now, obviously, this is opinion. But Carl Williams told Wickersham later, adding, the CBA is the worst piece of shit I've ever read. It's the worst in sports history. After an up and down final season at USC, Caleb Williams was unaware of what he wanted to do as he prepared for the NFL draft. Bears fans, brace yourself. This is not great to hear. At the NFL Combine that year, he met with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off, and Caleb Williams began to dream of what it would be like to play for Minnesota. Yikes. But I can't blame him. KOC is a quarterback guru. It's very a quarterback-friendly offense, and KOC is the type of coach, exactly the type of coach you'd want for a quarterback like Caleb Williams or any young quarterback. I need to go to the Vikings, he told his father. Let's do it, his father replied. But both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a division rival would be extremely unlikely. Yeah, there's probably about zero chance of that happening because the reality is if the Bears, a quarterback starved franchise for so long, trades to a division rival, and then he destroys you like Aaron Rodgers destroyed, and obviously Aaron Rodgers wasn't traded, but he destroys you like Aaron Rodgers did for so long, Ryan Poles would probably never work in the NFL again. Bears GM Ryan Poles stood firm, telling Williams, we're drafting you no matter what. Honestly, if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm doing the same thing. That left one option, to publicly attack the Bears in the city of Chicago, hoping to do what John Elway did with the Baltimore Colts. He basically told the Colts that he wouldn't go there. So if they drafted him, he wouldn't play. I think he also played baseball. He was worried about me taking bullets, Carl Williams told Wickersham. So basically, like, Carl was willing to be the fall guy. Like, we can put this all on me. Like, Caleb, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I don't care. I just don't agree with the shit. I'm more interested in making sure that he can do what he wants to do. That's, I mean, like, as much as you cannot like this for the Bears, like, you can be forced to respect, like, Carl Williams, like, will to try to get his son into the best place possible. But Caleb was concerned that if they did try that and the Bears refused to trade him, it would make a tough situation worse. In the end, Caleb Williams told Wickersham, I wasn't ready to nuke the city. I want to say, respect to Caleb Williams for doing that. There are, I feel like, certain athletes that would do that type of thing. And I'm not saying that they're 100% in the wrong, but I'm saying it does make you look a certain way because not a lot of players do that. Now, you can make the argument that not a lot of players have the talent that Caleb Williams has, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's always going to be on you. And if you win 2 Super Bowls like Eli Manning, great. People will probably not really care about that, but the reality is, like, winning a Super Bowl is very hard. After a pre-draft visit to the Bears facility, Williams believed he could be part of the process to turn the franchise around. I can do it for this team, Caleb told his dad. I'm going to go to the Bears. The Bears, it's kind of a comment. So I think my thing with this is, like, while Bears fans may be upset at the idea that Caleb and Carl initially didn't want to go here, you cannot deny that they did not have valid reasons. And on top of that, at the end of the day, Caleb said, I want to turn this city around. Like, I want to turn this franchise around. Like, I have the confidence to do it. Like, that is one, a lot to put on your shoulders as like a 21, 22-year-old kid. And 2, you are basically looking history in the face and saying, like, I'm special, I'm different, I can do what others couldn't. And, it was a tough rookie year, but you have to kind of respect Caleb for taking on the challenge. Like, and I understand it's easy to say, well, like, he's, everyone else has done it, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you see how many quarterbacks get drafted, chewed up, and spit out of the NFL year after year because these teams don't know how to develop these guys? Like, if Caleb really values being like a legend in the NFL or like leaving a legacy, why would you want to put yourself in a situation where they have ruined quarterback after quarterback? It's history. Like, it's shown. It's not, it's not like, oh, they screwed up here and, this one went okay. But no, it's been really bad for a long time. And then he says, the book also sheds light on Williams' tumultuous rookie season in which both Eberflus and Waldron were fired. I do think that has 100% to do with Caleb Williams. So I'm not saying like he was calling for their jobs, but the reality is he, I think, had a feeling that these guys weren't the guys. And I think the Bears know that Caleb was already kind of shaky on coming to Chicago. And if you keep Matt Eberflus and you keep Shane Waldron, you're basically telling him that even though his concerns were right, we're not going to listen to you. This is the face of your franchise. Like, this is the guy who's going to be hopefully your quarterback for the next 15 years. So with that being said, I think it kind of forced the Bears' hand, and in return, we got a better response out of, or a better return in Bears fans being able to get Ben Johnson. So anyway, Eberflus and Waldron were fired and the Bears lost 10 straight games. At times, Williams said he would watch film alone with no instruction or guidance from the coaches. No one tells me what to watch, Caleb Williams told his dad. I just turn it on. Shane Waldron was probably the worst, if not one of the worst hires in Chicago Bears history. Caleb Williams mostly played well as a rookie. Those are just his stats. And they hired Ben Johnson. Being able to be in this position, Caleb Williams says, being able to have a first year the way I did, ups and downs, and then be able to come in here, be as confident as I was last year, probably even more, and to be able to get here with the group that we have, I really can't wait to get to work with these guys. Him pushing me is key, he said. I know that, and he knows that. I can't wait to be able to help me learn more about ball because he's super smart and super sharp. Final thoughts here. The reality is, the rumors were true. Caleb Williams didn't want to come here. Whether how close they got to actually doing it compared to researching their options, I think would be a little bit more revealed in the book. And honestly, I'm interested to see the response that the Bears and Caleb Williams give once the book drops, even to this article. But at the end of the day, like, it ended up working out for the Bears where they got their franchise quarterback. Hopefully, the franchise quarterback put them in a position to break their old ways because they believe in this guy. And because you don't fire a coach midseason after 100 years of not doing it if you don't believe in the guy that's going to be running the ship for the next 10 to 15 years. And I think Caleb Williams does believe in what he can do for the Bears. And I think he does truly believe that he is more confident than he was last year. Because at the end of the day, after, if you look at his stats, like, he had a good rookie year. Like, that is a good rookie year. I believe, I have it up on my Twitter, but I think it's still like top 15 of rookie quarterbacks taken in the first since 20 or 2000. I could be wrong, but Jayden Daniels obviously higher. But with that being said, I think this is a guy you want, right? Like, a guy who cares about his future, a guy who wants to be pushed, a guy who believes he can turn this franchise around. Whether you believe that's a delusional thought or not, that's fine with me. I would rather them believe that than think I can't do this. This thing is trash. This thing is gone in the garbage. Like, there's no fixing this. So with that being said, let me know in the comments what you thought of the article. Leave a like. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Bear Cave. Have a great rest of your day.